and
Just
the viewers.
Reyno, hou net gou. Dit gaan nou eers
Yes.
live, sorry. Okay, you're live. Okay, Reyno, we live now.
No, thank you very much, Des, to invite me to give an update to everyone. Thanks a lot for our supporters and the viewers who are interested in their future by following us. And uh, please just like the video and share it as far and wide as possible. What I'm going to share with you tonight is extremely important, and everyone in South Africa should know exactly what is going on, and specifically what the current situation with our courts are. Our judiciary is at a point where it has never been before in its entire history. And I'm talking even in the apartheid years as well.
Yes.
There's our judiciary is not the judiciary that we thought it was.
Yeah.
And everyone should know what is going on. Luckily, we've from Liberty Fighters Network side, I have been preparing myself for this time and period in our history for a very long time. So I was fortunate enough to know exactly what I could have expected. We've prepared for it properly, and everything is starting to fall into its place as we have planned it.
Yes.
So, in that regard, it's a very good thing and a positive thing, but it might not be the positive thing or the positive result that everyone expected. Yes, from our side, I have been offline from social media for 2 weeks or so. Me and my family were very fortunate to have been treated by one of our big supporters to a nice vacation that we really needed, and
Well-deserved
we've
vacation,
yeah,
Reyno.
no, it was really well deserved, and many times I wanted to grab my phone and start working, but I just told myself, you know what, this is the first holiday that you and your family have got ever. In my eldest daughter is now 12 years old, and this was the first time that we could actually go on holiday together, and that was quite nice. And thank you very much. I don't want to mention his name, but he know exactly who he is, and really appreciate it. We went to the to KZN to a beach vacation, very nice for 5 days, and yeah. So I'm fortunate to get back, and uh, from Monday that I started working, it was just work, 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 work. But yes, that's basically the background of where we are, or the where I've been.
Well, I'm glad you
Um,
could have a break
yes.
so that you're ready to fight on, Reyno. It takes a lot of time and effort, I know. So yes, you recharged. You feel recharged.
Oh, definitely yes. And
That's awesome.
we ready for next week is the big day. On Wednesday next week, it's the hearing date for our Supreme Court of Appeal hearing that we've been waiting for almost the entire lockdown.
Yeah, it's
It
taken
has been
forever, hasn't it?
it has, but obviously I'm going to tell everyone what is going on with that interesting case, and also with the Constitutional Court case, which is a very interesting turn of events that's currently busy unfolding there as well, and but there's quite a lot of information. I'm going to try to be to the point as possible. But unfortunately, those who don't understand precisely what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to try to be as as easy spoken and in summary that everyone understands. But those of you who don't understand, please feel free. You know where to go to. You can go to our website, libertyfighters.co.za. You can get my email address there. You
Yes.
can email me. I find that it's much better these days for me to rather respond to email because I'm
Okay.
constantly before my email and
Yes.
my computer. So it's much better for me to respond to an email than someone dropping me a WhatsApp or a Telegram.
Yes.
I've just started answering literally hundreds of outstanding messages on my WhatsApp and Telegram. I cannot answer
That's too
everyone, and
many.
I do apologize, and I do say again that if you want to get info from me, either pop me an email or phone
Mm.
me. My phone number is out there, and I've also got a landline. You can find everything on our website.
Yes, so the people can go to the Liberty Fighters Network website to contact you, and you prefer emails at this stage or people to phone you, and then they will also find the details where they can support Liberty Fighters Network financially. Obviously, you need to cover a lot of costs going to the courts, etc., and
Yes,
then all the work that you do in between. So people, please support Reyno in his work where he's fighting for us. He's already made a huge difference with our lockdowns being open sooner. Make no mistake, with all of these court cases, one thing I just want to tell the people right now is the fact that the case was before the court influenced the government's decisions, and then the rulings would normally be made after the lockdown restrictions have been lowered. And I think that's a very
yes,
important concept for people to understand. And thanks, we have 152 people on the stream now. We have 42 likes. People, please like the video so that we can get the algorithms to share this video link to other people, and then take the link yourself and share it as much as you can. Hi everyone out there: Felix, Justin, Sydney, Miss Pinola, Antoinette, Rita, Rina. I mean, I could mention all of you now. Those are the people I can see on the screen. Thank you for coming on, and please share this link and like the video. There the likes have just jumped up to get the algorithms out. We want everyone to see what Reyno has to say. This is important. Even after this live stream is over, then you'll be able to share this video with other people. So just please remember that. Okay, Reyno, if you could please update us
yes.
now. There's quite a bit of news. I'm going to give you free rein now to speak for a while, and I might ask things here or there to clarify,
Yes.
and then maybe later we can just go over if there's any other questions that anyone has that's relevant, then I might put that to you.
No, thank you, Des. You're more than welcome to interrupt me to ask a specific question. As I've said before, I'm so passionate about what we are doing that sometimes I don't even understand myself. So, I tend to just start talking about everything, and I do get carried away. So please bring me to the point, ask me questions, let our supporters and the viewers put their questions in the message
Yes.
space, and let me start off. Yes, our
Just
court.
refer first, Reyno, please refer to which case this is so everyone knows what we are talking about to start
Okay,
with. Okay.
okay. Um, this is in relation to the appeal of the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Dlamini Zuma, in relation to the success that we had on the 2nd of June, where a court order of the High Court in Pretoria have declared that the lockdown regulations are unconstitutional and invalid. The minister was provided 14 business days to rectify and report back to the court, which she never did. And during that 14 days, it was suspended. So, what effectively happened was that in that period, and specifically on the 8th of June, the minister decided to lodge appeal processes. And everyone said that, you know what, unfortunately, the court order was also suspended. But that was totally incorrect because the Constitutional Court have previously, in another case, way back in 2006, in the so-called New Clicks case, have stated that an order of invalidity of regulations are not governed by, for example, the Superior Courts Act. It wasn't available or it wasn't enacted at that stage, the Superior Courts Act, but in terms of Rule 4911 and the common law of Rule 4911 of the Uniform Rules of the High Court. The moment when you start appeal processes requesting leave to appeal, it is considered that the order is suspended until the court have to decide, or until the court decide otherwise. Yes. So in our case, we said that it was not governed by the rule or the common law practice, that it was suspended pending an appeal, because it is enshrined in the Constitution, and in terms of Section 172 of the Constitution itself, the court granting that order, or who made that order, is the only court that can regulate the suspension period. So if the suspension period lapsed after 14 business days, which was on the 24th, on the eve of the 23rd of June, it ended. So from the 24th of June, those regulations have automatically become null and void, yes, unconstitutional and invalid. Yes. So what is happening is that the minister proceeded with the appeal. But effectively, the appeal is totally moot because there are no regulations anymore. And it is because of herself that she made the mistake, or because of truly bad legal advice that she was given, that she thought, or we thought, that it was suspended. Yes. It was never. So that appeal is now before the court, and we said, you know what, irrespective of the outcome of this hearing, there are no more regulations to consider. Yes. So the decision of the court cannot. There's no use for the Supreme Court of Appeal to actually go forward with this appeal. Because even if it is successful on the side of the minister, those regulations are no longer there, and she must physically make new regulations. She and the government and the cabinet are definitely well aware of it, because none other than Wim Trengove, who is her lead counsel in this specific case, was also the lead counsel in the New Clicks case before yes. the Constitutional Court way back in 2006. So he was the one who was actually inventing the argument that we are now putting before the court. But strangely enough,
irony.
Yeah, but strangely enough, it is just carrying on. The government know that the lockdown ended the 24th of June, or otherwise not the lockdown itself, but the regulations, and the regulations are or have been given effect to the lockdown itself. But the crisis we are sitting in now is that when we were informed by the registrar of the Supreme Court of Appeal that our matter was set down for the 26th of May, next week, Wednesday, they immediately started engaging with us that the matter must be heard virtually. Oh. So then we came in and we said that we will have an open court hearing, and we demand, irrespective of whether the minister wants it otherwise virtually, or CASAC, the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. It's an organization which have been admitted as a friend of the court in our matter, is closely aligned to the Trevor Manuel grouping within the ANC. They also supported the government's virtual hearing request. So,
And they're attacking many of the things that we are concerned with.
yes, and so we notified the Supreme Court of Appeal. Wait a minute, the virtual hearing is the result of the claimed COVID-19 measures which were enacted by the appellant, the minister. But strangely enough, if you don't know this by now, those measures are no longer there since the 24th of June. Those measures, the mask wearing, the PCR tests, the quarantine, the social distancing, all the measures enforced upon us were contained in Chapter 2 of
Yes.
the 29th of April set of Disaster Management Act regulations. Those chapters were chapters 1 and 2, which have been crafted in such a way that uh, those were applicable on any level throughout the lockdown. Um, those were before the court on the 28th of May when Justice Davis had those regulations before him. But unfortunately, the problem came in that on the very day of the 28th of May, the minister, although the counsel for the minister should have known that she would have promulgated the new level 3 regulations at that stage, never informed the court on that very day. So the court was put in a very uncomfortable position that it had to address the level 3 regulations after the hearing and not during the hearing. But that is totally irrelevant because the Chapter 2 measures were before the court and have been included in the order of invalidity and unconstitutionality.
Yes.
So we told the Supreme Court of Appeal that, you know what, we would be hypocrites if we agreed to a virtual hearing, because the virtual hearing is the direct result of the minister enforcing COVID-19 measures upon us, and that is exactly what is before the court, the Supreme Court of Appeal, to adjudicate. So if the Supreme Court of Appeal makes a directive which allows the virtual hearing to take place, it would mean that they are in support of the narrative set by the government or the appellant, the minister. So we said that you cannot. The moment if you allow a virtual hearing in our matter, forget all the other virtual hearings that you had. But our case is unique. You don't have any other option but to allow this matter to proceed in the normal way in an open court. So then there were a lot of deliberation and there were exchange of letters between ourselves, the appellant and the Supreme Court of Appeal, and eventually the judges allocated to our matter made a decision that the matter will proceed virtually, to address the argument of whether the case should be heard virtually. So they on the 26th or next week Wednesday, they expect us to advance argument virtually why a virtual hearing cannot take place. Anyone can think that that is totally ridiculous. You cannot, if we attack the legality of a virtual hearing in our matter, and we are relying on not only the Constitution, Section 34, giving us the right of an open court public hearing, as well as the Superior Courts giving us the right to have an open court hearing as a default.
Yeah, you can't use a closed
To
court
go
hearing.
and defend. You can, yeah,
You can't use a
and
closed court
unfortunately,
hearing to actually deliberate whether the hearing should be closed or open.
exactly. So
I
this
mean,
is,
that's crazy.
but the fact is that a virtual court hearing. What does the phrase say? It says that it's a court that is in virtual space.
Yes.
There is no location that one can put to it. And in the directive given to us, it was specifically stated that the 5 judges of the Supreme Court of Appeal will even log in remotely from Bloemfontein. But Bloemfontein is the seat of the Supreme Court of Appeal. So they have said that they will not even be in Bloemfontein to conduct this virtual court hearing.
Yes.
So we said no. And in any event, we believe and we are sure that we are correct that if the law provides us with the opportunity or the right that an open court hearing is the neutral, is the actual situation. And it says that under special cases, the court may decide to not have an open court hearing or conduct the hearing virtually, for example. So it means that it's not up to us because we have disagreed to conduct the hearing virtually, and that we would want to be in Bloemfontein in Court A on Wednesday morning, the 26th of May, to have a physical hearing.
So then people can come to court and
Then
support you. The
yes,
public can then
exactly.
show support for the case, because in a
Yes,
virtual hearing that can't happen.
correct. And then because we were the ones who are after accepted the normal, it was up to the appellant, the minister, and also Capitec as the friend of the court. If they insisted on a virtual hearing, it was up to them to have brought an application to request the court to have it virtually then. But the court have disregarded our arguments and the relevant fact that we believe, and it's up to us to insist on an open court hearing because the measures conducted or implemented by the minister are no longer there.
Yes.
We have it's exactly what Wim Trengove advised his very own clients in the Nuclex case way back in 2006. He advised them, I'm not sure whether he advised them, but he was part of the legal team of the successful respondents, whereby the respondents went on and totally disregarded the regulations that were declared unconstitutional and invalid, and that where the government also, just like in our case, was trying to enforce it knowingly that they were no longer there because the suspension period have also lapsed in that case.
Yes.
So we are in fact guided by the advice Wim Trengove, the Minister's Council, have given his own respondents way back in 2006. We are following exactly the same principle. And his team was successful, and I can't see any reason why we are not able to put that message back to the court to say that because of the dispute over the measures applicable, we have had open court hearings during our journey to up till now. The latest or the previous one was in fact in January. I think it was the 12th of January before Judge Davis.
Yes.
The court was packed.
Yeah.
There wasn't even social distancing between the people, and they were happy. They didn't have any problem. And also note that all magistrates' courts are continuing in open court because they know that the Magistrates Court Act does not make provision for a magistrates court to not or to conduct hearings virtually. They don't have the power like the High Court has got and the superior courts have got. So now the high courts are functioning on a elite divine level, um, where they can just make and break as they want. So the result of this is that this afternoon we have notified the Supreme Court of Appeal that we will bring an application for recusal of all the judges allocated in our appeal. So that will be filed on Monday, way back before the hearing is held, and because it's a new application and the appellant would be put in a position as well as Kazak to also file answering affidavits, the hearing will not be able to continue. So we basically have now told them, and people, those of you who think that we are wrong and that we should finalize this, um, this has got nothing to do with the fact of the decision of the virtual hearing. Yes. This has got everything to do with the independence and the protection of our court system.
Yes.
The moment when we give in, having got the necessary ammunition and the arguments to proceed in an open court, and we can bypass this whole virtual hearing crap that they are busy forcing down our throats during the whole lockdown. We are then part and parcel of the protection of our judiciary and effectively our constitution.
Yes.
That is what it's all about. The moment when the courts will be going into a forced virtual hearing space, that is the day when we will really know that our constitution means absolutely nothing.
Nothing. And it's going that way now.
We must not be hypocrites. If we suddenly give way to a virtual hearing on Wednesday, that would mean that that we are total hypocrites and that we don't believe in the fact that there are no special reason for a virtual hearing to take place in the format of COVID-19 measures, because that is being used as the basis to justify the virtual hearing. Yeah. And to just go a last step in terms of the matter before the Supreme Court of Appeal, this does not mean, even if we are now pushing effectively for very good reasons that the matter needs to be postponed until another hearing date. Meanwhile, we can still rely on the validity of our court order of the 2nd of June.
Yes.
So, and the minister knows
that people have been using that countrywide, and the forms successfully. And the forms that you've handed out at the meetings, Reyno, the people have printed them out across the country. They're using them at roadblocks and everywhere else, and they've all had success with that. So even after the curfew hours, so the police, they look at the court order and they understand what it's about. So the people need to understand that that order is important. And as I said to you yesterday, it's important that we stick to our guns and you stick to your beliefs, and that's what you're doing. And I really appreciate that we don't back down as the public, because the public is the last judiciary in the country to actually
that's true, because the courts belong to the people. And
Absolutely.
and if the people's courts are being mocked in the way that the government has been doing it for the past year, it means that it's up to us as the people to stand up and protect our judiciary and ensure that it is not an extension of the government, but it is indeed an additional pillar
Yes.
contained within our constitution, an independent pillar
Yes.
which is not biased and impartial in order to enforce the constitution. That is the purpose of our courts. So it's not that we want to mock our judiciary and say we don't want to play Jacob Zuma here to say that let's go and destroy the court system. But I do have some pity for our erstwhile president in that respect, because I do believe that he has got a very good point.
Yes, it
But
does.
in any but in any event, what it is all about, we have told the court, the Supreme Court of Appeal, that even if you hold us in contempt of court, how will you be able to hold us in contempt of court if there is no location attached to the virtual hearing? There
Exactly.
must be a location for a crime to be committed. And will that mean that we are then also entitled to have a virtual imprisonment for contempt of court?
Exactly. We should start
Does
that
that mean?
hashtag, Reyno. We should start a
Yes.
hashtag virtual imprisonment.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. Yes, but I think that is the background for the Supreme Court of Appeal. If there are any questions, are there any questions from the supporters? There's in relation to what I've said now.
If any of you have any questions with regards to what Reyno is saying or don't understand, please put your questions through. Someone has said here that the police said at a protest that the DMA, the Disaster Management Act is above the Constitution. I can respond to that, but please, I would like to hear your response to that, Reyno.
Obviously not. We have, but what we've done was that we have, on two occasions, we have sent out letters and also our court order to all the stations throughout South Africa. It's something like 2,000 police stations. The feedback that we have got from that was very good, and in that sense, um, we have seen some change in attitude from the
Mm.
police, or also from my perspective, and also others have also reported the same, that they've seen that the police are not in our faces all the time with these things, because
Yeah.
they also hate these regulations.
Yes.
So if they can find a legal way not to enforce and not to do the paperwork, that's very important.
Yeah.
They don't want to do the paperwork.
Exactly.
And they know for a fact that the moment when any of these matters come before the court and you want to proceed defending it, they will the NPA will withdraw those cases.
Yes.
100%. We, in all those matters referred to us, in 100% of the cases, the National Prosecuting Authority withdrew those criminal cases.
Yes.
So it's and it's all because of our court order that they can do it, because they should have been informed by the national director, as we have also communicated with her.
Yeah. One of the comments here is that this is Atlantis has said that majority of ordinary policemen and women are completely unaware of this court order, and he says he's shown it to many of them and they are completely surprised. And I think this does happen, that they are taken by surprise, and then when they actually read it, they must be confused, because remember, the mainstream media did not want to go and put out the narrative on what this court order actually meant. And
Yes.
maybe something we should do is just have another campaign for a week long where we put it out everywhere for everyone to see, on my social media pages as well, and then hopefully we can actually get more people to get eyes on that.
Yes. No, that we should do that. Um, just I don't want to proceed too quickly, but it's very much important that I also quickly inform the people what is going on in the Constitutional Court, because
Yes.
that is even
This is
more
vital. This
crazier.
is vital. We
This
have
is even
270
more.
viewers, Reyno, which is really great. We have 158 likes. If any of you people can just like the video and share the link so that we can actually get more people to see this even after the live stream is finished. We'll probably finish up very soon. So just like the video to drive the algorithms. This channel has been under attack for a long period of time now. So we really need to get those algorithms going. Thank you so much. The likes are flying. We're almost at 200 likes now. Thank you so much. There's been a couple of questions and any news on the forms to be filled for the COVID relief fund, or am I delusional? Annette Ritter.
That is in terms of the vaccinations. So if the vaccinations go wrong, then the state needs to pay for from the relief fund.
Yeah.
All these things are totally ridiculous. It's in any event um, not valid, because it's merely amendments to the set which have already become unconstitutional and invalid since the 24th of June.
Yes.
So all those measures will not be able to, that relief fund, because it was or proposed, I don't even know anymore, because I simply don't care.
Yes.
Whether it has been eventually incorporated into the regulations or not. But the fact is that even if it was incorporated into the regulations, that fund will not be valid for one bit, because and we are pushing this more and more, so that we believe that the fact that we are in the face of the government all the time to say that we will not adhere to that because there are no more regulations since the 24th of June. We believe that this new movement in the media to suggest that she would like, the minister would like to hand over her powers more to the different provinces. We believe that it's a direct result.
Mkhize has also said this openly.
Yes.
Really,
So we believe that they know that they cannot go on and lie forever.
No.
That these regulations are still valid. They know that it is just a matter of time that everyone will know that those regulations have absolutely no effect anymore, and for several months, for 11 months to be exact.
Yes.
So they know that. And they need to get a way out of this predicament that they have put themselves into, and they would like to start shifting the blame to the premiers and to whoever comes their way. So they don't want to take responsibility anymore for the crap that they have done.
Yes.
So that is very important that I quickly go to the Constitutional
Concord.
Court.
Yes, please address the Concord and what's happening there.
People, I must be honest with you that I was totally just how everyone was so or thought that Mogoeng, our Chief Justice, was such a nice guy. In our court case, he was not such a nice guy. Alternatively, those who are in his office or doing his paperwork have totally buggered up our constitutional case originally. In the sense that
I don't think he was in his office, Reyno, to be honest.
Yeah, we believe that he was. The indication is that he was nowhere to be found, or he was not. By the time we've lodged our constitutional court case on the 3rd of March, he was already on or not in the office
Yes.
anymore. He was on leave,
He
and
was
I
sanctioned.
think yes, and as you say that this whole thing that was hanging over his head
Yeah.
from the JSC. But in any event, the problem is that we've addressed very important um, letters to him when we've lodged our application on the 3rd of March. The content of that letter was to ask him permission in accordance with the rules of the Constitutional Court that I, as a layperson, may also represent Liberty Fighters Network as I have always been doing
Yes.
throughout these cases. Now, unfortunately, I had to do it because every time when you shift from we had to do it in the um, in the High Court, we had to do it in the
First.
Supreme Court of Appeal, and when we've shifted to the Constitutional Court, the same applies.
Yeah.
So I had to get permission to do that. Otherwise, Liberty Fighters Network would not have been represented before the court.
Yes.
So then Liberty Fighters Network would not have had a case before the court. So what happened was that we've lodged the application, we got a court date. The minister had time until the 17th of March to file her opposing papers.
Yes.
The 17th of March, people. On the 10th of March, without the after we've asked the Chief Justice twice that he needs to come back to us with a confirmation whether I may continue with representing Liberty Fighters Network as I always have, or what should we do? He never answered. That was never answered.
Yes.
You've expected that if he was out of the office, someone else would have taken over in an acting position, or he would have allocated a special senior judge to do his work in his absence. That never happened. So on the 10th of March, we suddenly received a court order, apparently by 9 judges, saying that our application for leave to appeal was dismissed. But at that stage, they couldn't have attended to our case because not only was there no confirmation in relation to my right or Liberty Fighters Network right to be represented by myself, but the minister didn't even file her opposing papers because she should have done it only by the 17th.
Yes.
So 7 days before the minister could even say yes, that I'm not in support of the leave application, they decided on their own that our case had absolutely no merits. So because of the fact that we have done what we did, with the confirmation that we wanted from the Constitutional Court, we've anticipated this because I've been through, it's in fact the 6th case to the Constitutional Court that I was involved in or know about, that something similar happened, and this time we wanted to make sure that what happened the 5 previous times would not have reoccurred.
Yes.
So what happened was that they simply unanimously agreed that our case does not have any prospect of a success, notwithstanding that we even changed some of the arguments to the Constitutional Court. So it wasn't even before other courts, those arguments, but they have decided without the version of the minister that we don't have any prospect of success. So after that, we started in addressing the issue about, we wrote letters to Mogoeng. He bluntly ignored it, or whoever he put in his place. or whoever was put in his place simply ignored our letters.
I don't think anyone can replace him, so there was no one in his place.
Yeah, no, well, there should have been some senior judge. The rules do make provision for the Chief Justice to allocate another judge to
Yeah,
do
but
his functions in
with
his
Zondo.
absence.
You're sitting with
Yes.
Zondo
A
somewhere
bit,
else.
yeah, but someone like Campepe there's quite a number of senior members of the Constitutional Court that could have taken over that
But I
position,
think he
but
probably
it
has
never
to do the
happened.
handover.
Yeah, so it never happened.
Yeah.
So we were eventually forced to bring an application for rescission of that judgment, in the way putting before the court that it was erroneous. It was wrong for the court to have done. The court was never in a position to have done what they did. It's just logic that you cannot make an order that there's no prospect of success on the 10th of March while the opposing papers are still due on the 17th. So they have just taken meaning that we believe, and we are more sure than ever, that many of these cases don't even reach the desk of these judges.
Yes.
There are door stoppers. Each judge has got 2 clerks. What we believe is that those clerks are actually the ones who decide what is going on in the Constitutional Court. This is scary, people, but we've got the evidence. As I've said, it's now the 6th case that's going through the same process. And we have tested this for a very long time. And there's even 2 cases currently challenging these methods of the Constitutional Court before the African Union, so that we have lodged there. So we are sure that many of these cases are, depending on who submit these things, these applications. The moment when they see that these applications have been submitted by lay litigants, not represented by legal practitioners, which is coincidentally the common denominator for all 6 these cases, because all 6 of these were not represented by legal practitioners.
Yes.
So the reasonable conclusion that we can make is that the moment when you are lay litigant and you are trying to push a matter through to the Constitutional Court, the chances are 100% that your case will not be heard. And it will be stopped at the door, and then they claim that because it was a decision by the court, 9 judges, you don't have any right to appeal further because it's the apex court. But what we have done is there's another way that we've taken for the rescission of the judgment. So that process is going on. At last, we have received opposing papers from the minister. In that case, our replying affidavit is due next week, Friday. So then the court are basically forced to listen to us.
Yes.
They will not have any alternate or other option but to at least read our papers and make a determination on what went wrong. It's just logic that the absence of the minister's version cannot justify that there are no prospects of success. Period. Finish and clear.
Yes.
So unfortunately, this has proved to us once again that our judiciary, there's something terribly wrong with the judiciary in South Africa.
Yes.
We think that the judiciary is on our side, but it's not. Especially if you don't have the luxury of employing a senior counsel or a legal team to defend and oppose matters for you. Your chances of succeeding in this jungle of the judiciary is almost zero. So what we are doing now is we are Liberty Fighters Network, through fighting for the lockdown to get to an end. And this constitutional court case is all about the validity of the declaration of the lockdown on the 15th of March. We are saying that everything was wrong.
Yes.
There wasn't anything that they did correctly.
Yes.
The declaration of the national state of the disaster should never have been there. And that they have basically violated the guidelines and the rules that they have set themselves.
Yes.
They did not even comply to those measures.
But you see,
So
this is
very
where I
much.
believe, Reyno, that the next option, if the judiciary is not working for us, is to change the governance system, create a new judiciary that is fair, and
Yes,
then we actually have a chance as people. And this is why we need to become citizens instead of subjects, and we need
correct.
to be able to take control of our own lives. And this is very important. And this is a
Yes.
big fight for me currently across the country. It's almost been an hour now. It's been 15 minutes. I really want to thank everyone that came onto the live stream. And Reyno, I want to thank you for being
Yes.
with us. There was one more question. Someone asked if you would fight the vax passports.
Well, if we have already declared the RT-PCR test as unconstitutional and invalid way back in our 2nd of June court order, there cannot be vaccines and there cannot be any other measures. We just simply need to come to a point where more people know about our successes that we had. There's absolutely no reason to ask for the isolation of the virus, and we've already succeeded in everything. It's making me furious when people are talking about the crimes against humanity. Dr. Frielmich, everyone is making waves about him, but he has done absolutely nothing up till date. We are light years in front of the Frielmich movement in Britain. We have already declared the PCR or RT-PCR test as unconstitutional and invalid. The problem we have is the enforcement. The police, we don't have the enforcing agents. The police and the defense force, they are scared to not enforce these things. They think that if they don't enforce these things, the government will get them fired. And yes, unfortunately, that is a possibility, but we need heroes now. We need people who can stand up and take a stand against all these unconstitutional things that are happening and get the word out that all these things we don't want have already been declared as unconstitutional and invalid. There's no, unfortunately, um, airliners have been bailed out by the World Bank and by the IMF.
Yes.
So they have been given conditions of what they need to do in order to get these bailout monies. And part of those conditions are to push the narrative of wearing masks, and that is why they are even prepared to turn around in the middle of a journey to go and dump someone who is not wearing a mask. That is why they are willing to go to such extremes.
Yeah.
So
And my
unfortunately,
video covering someone being thrown off a plane for not wearing a mask was removed. The World Health Organization asked YouTube to remove it. So it just shows you that we don't actually have a government, and that is the message I put out to the people. And you speak of heroes. Every single person in the country that wants freedom needs to become a hero in their own right, and they need to start fighting for freedom and first understand what it means to not have freedom, because this is what we're living under. We're still under lockdown. We're still
Yeah.
under curfew, and a lot of people forget this. It's
Yeah.
an injustice.
No, it's true. And but in any event, Des, I see that we are going to an hour.
Yes, we are.
I think I've said enough. In summary, those who want more information, you're more than welcome to pop me an email. Um, Des, if you can just put my email address specifically, maybe at the
Yes, I'll
bottom of
put it
this.
in the description. I'll put it in the first comment of the video. The website address is there,
Yes.
Reyno, as
Okay.
well as the Liberty Fighters Network's banking details. It's
Oh,
all there
thank you
in the
very much.
description below the video. Please support Reyno and Liberty Fighters Network in what they are doing right now. And I agree with Reyno, the legal system is not working for us. I've realized this many years ago. And that is why the route I've taken now is to literally get people across the country to realize that there are subjects currently to a system that is not a friend to their freedom, and that
Yes.
every person needs to now learn to become a citizen so that we can take this country back. If we make government irrelevant, if we make government irrelevant by becoming government ourselves, then we will win the fight. But as long as we are subjects to them, we will get nowhere. And I think you've experienced, Reyno, a lot of these subversions from the legal system, from the people
Yes.
in the legal system, from the judges.
Yeah.
And we can see it everywhere right now, and it's a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
I really want to
Oh,
thank everyone for coming onto the live stream, and thanks, Reyno, for joining me again.
thank you very much, Des. Really appreciate it. I just want to end off. Um, People, I just want to emphasize that everything that we are doing, we don't have investors who are backing us.
No.
It's because of people like you who really care, who's making voluntary donations to us, and
Yeah.
we are so grateful of each and every one. There are people who even gave R5.
Yeah.
You know, that makes a difference. We really appreciate it. And remember that when people come to us in need, we never show them the door. We always help them. We never expect any fee in return, and we start off when you see my signature at the bottom of my email, you will see that I confirmed there already that we may not expect any remuneration by law. Otherwise, we can be held, brought before the Legal Practice Council as
Yes.
being attorneys. So
Yes.
we may not charge any, we may not expect anything in return for any court work that we are doing. So what we are doing is absolutely free. It's because what I say is that people give us donations because they are grateful of what we have achieved and doing for them.
And many of the
It's not
cases aren't in the public eye. You are
uh,
taking on many other cases for people.
correct, yeah,
Yeah.
and many of these cases are for defending evictees.
Mm.
Even we even side with landlords and assist them. So there are many other work that we are doing, and
Yes.
in all those matters, we don't request them. The people simply give us donations out
Yes.
of the love for the work that we are doing, and that is ultimately the biggest reward that we can get. And thank you for people like you, Des. Really appreciate your efforts. And yeah, I also would like to say that please support Des. He's doing a very marvelous job getting the word out. Without him, um, institutions like Liberty Fighters Network will not be able to assist you either. So thank you very much, Des. Really appreciate it, and
Thank
thanks
you,
a lot
Reyno,
for.
for your support. I can confirm that Reyno has supported my tour from the beginning. And I really want to thank you for doing that, Reyno, and all the other people involved. Thank you to everyone that comes out to the meetings. And thank you for Reyno that has been able to speak at my meetings up in Gauteng, and we'll be back there very soon. And I look forward to the big meeting tomorrow and in Durbanville, and I'll see you there. And thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.